Speaking of Disney, the Daily Wire are going to do their own version of Snow White with Brett Cooper starring as Snow White.
I saw that.
I mean, that to me is, largely a declarative statement of culture war on what's happening with children, with children's movies. It's synthesizing down all of the little tangential issues that have been included. Is it anything to do with the push toward the sort of books that are in school? Is it us, denying this? Rachel Ziegler throwing Snow White under the bus. Like, she doesn't have a Prince Charming. She has a stalker. We don't need that.
What do you think about that?
I think that it is a very dangerous lesson to teach young girls that boys that show interest in them are dangerous and to be avoided. I think it makes for a generation of fragile, narcissistic, fearful young girls that I wouldn't want as a daughter and that I don't want as a mother.
You know what a perfect example that is? The movement of feminism is the ultimate example of not choosing your enemies wisely. You chose men as being the enemy. 40 years later, 50 years later, you're 65 years old, single, not married, no kids. You're living in an apartment or a condo with a dog or a cat. That's all you ever talk about. And you're lonely and you're sitting there saying, I was wrong. Men are not the enemy. But guess what? That movement stole 50 years of your life. You know how painful that is? What she's doing right now with the messaging she's given and then getting out there and saying, well, I don't want to be able to have to do this. No, it's not necessarily going to be that way nowadays. Women don't need that anymore. It's a completely different era right now we're talking about. And to do this at 100-year anniversary of Disney?
Yeah.
Really? With what Walt and many of us, I remember living in Iran watching Disney cartoons translated in Farsi, literally in Farsi. It's very weird when you watch it in Farsi because the language is a rough language. You watch Pinocchio in Farsi, it's not as appealing, right? But we grew up with this stuff. We grew up with watching these cartoons. To see that taking place is, if you ask me, it's absolutely pathetic. But you're seeing how many back-to-back-to-back flops Disney has right now.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look. By the way, the buyers who want to buy Disney, they're loving this. Apple's one of the most qualified buyers. They hope Disney makes 5 more flops. Apple's sitting there saying, make 5 more flops. Iger, please. By the way, have you read The Ride of a Lifetime by Bob Iger? Okay. Another interesting guy. What he did with his 38 career at ABC. Obviously, he's been there a lot longer, but when you read the book, the first 38 run, to be one of the best power brokers, then to finish your career up the way you're doing right now, very, very bad way of finishing it up.
But he's not an idiot, right? You don't have the excuse of not knowing.
He is for sure. What a point you just made. He is 100% not an idiot. This guy was about to run for president. Bob Iger he was one of the guys that everybody was trying to get to run for president. Him and Oprah, they were supposed to be this. Literally, this was the conversation. So he also ended up choosing the wrong enemies and the wrong allies, not realizing your best allies are parents. You're losing parents who have been watching this for years. You're losing the people that this is a legacy product. It's another example of a complete screw up that's going to come at a discount for somebody else like Apple eventually.
Well, I mean, look at, to go back to Ben and what Jeremy are doing over the Daily Wire. Hershey's do a campaign that they don't like. Within 5 days, they've released their own chocolate bar. That shaving company does something they don't like. Within 24 hours, maybe, they filmed a video with a McLaren for Jeremy's razors. They don't like the way that
fantastic commercial, by the way.
Well done. Jeremy's got skills. I listened to him and Shapiro talking about the fact that originally Jeremy was the talent.
Attention! Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed and lost in the maze of building your brand and influence online? Say goodbye to the frustration of wasted time, endless screen staring, and the fear of missing out on your dreams. Introducing Outranking, your ultimate shortcut to success. Imagine effortlessly crafting compelling, SEO-optimized content in minutes, not hours, saving you a whopping 90% of your precious time. No more endless screen sessions leading to eye strains and body aches. With Outranking, conquer Co. Intent creation without sacrificing your health or sanity. Lost and unsure where to begin? Outranking holds your hand, guiding you step by step through creating category descriptions, product highlights, or captivating blog posts. It's your compass in the chaotic world of online content creation. for the newbies and veterans alike. Outranking simplifies your journey to success with its cutting-edge technology and strategies. It's not just content creation, it's a game changer. Revolutionizing the way you build your online presence. Say hello to savings. Outranking slashes your content creation costs by up to 80%. You'll no longer need a pile of expensive tools. This all-in-one powerhouse replaces them all, putting money back in your pocket while propelling your brand forward. Elevate your influence. Build your brand lightning fast with personalized, influential content that resonates with your audience. No more struggling to stand out. Outranking helps you shine like the star you are, gaining social acceptance both online and off. Don't waste another moment. Join our amazing community of successful content creators who trust Outranking, embrace efficiency, save time and money, and amplify your influence. Your dream brand and influential presence awaits. Seize them now with Outranking.
And Ben was the money man and the data guy behind the scenes.
Do you know Zach Levi? I think his name is Zach Levi, the actor who played what is the movie, the superhero for kid movies. What is the guy's name?
Ben
Anyways,
10?
What is it?
Ben 10?
No,
it's
a recent movie.
You're the one with like
Yeah.
4 kids.
Yeah. Trust me, I've seen this movie a couple times. He played Kurt Warner, a recent movie that came out, The American Underdog. He played Kurt Warner. Him and Jeremy used to have a production company apparently 10, 15 years ago. And Zach ended up being a big-time actor in Hollywood, doing very good for himself. And by the way, Jeremy is another great example of a guy that's got enemies. Just look at his eyes. When you hear Jeremy speak, you see the fire.
He's built for enemies.
He's got enemies, and he wants to take those enemies out.
But that's why I thought the Daily Wire was an illustrative example, because they are, as far as I can see, largely a company built on identifying enemies. You know, they're very much in opposition to ideas that they don't like, to movements they don't like, to people that they don't like. And yeah, man, I mean, you have to be built for that. You really, really do need to be built for it. And it certainly seems to me that what Ben and what Jeremy are doing over there is purpose-built to be the anti this, the anti that. And a lot of the time it's new movements that they don't agree with.
The market's going to prove if the concept is going to work or not, and if it can sustain. Because if it's a built to sell concept, they're going to succeed. But can somebody else come and pick up that concept and continue with that with the same level of fire? It's going to take a couple decades to figure that part out.
It's interesting to think, you know, from our side, when you see those Rachel Ziegler interviews and she's saying courting is stalking, a girl doesn't need to be saved by a prince. You know, she's busy thinking about how she can fulfill her own dreams and becoming the woman that she always knew that she could, so on and so forth. You think a lot of people is that really the highest manifestation? Is that real self-actualization for young women nowadays? That's the question they ask. And you're totally right that, look, ultimately the market will choose.
There's no question about it.
The market will choose.
The market is brutal. You know what's a great thing about it?
It's always right.
It's always right. You know, you can say, well, let me tell you, I'm the best bodybuilder in the world. Yeah, okay. Look at your calves. Yeah, good luck to you. Go put those little skimpy, shorts on and see what your, legs look like. No, you're not as good as you think you are. You're full of it.
Yeah.
Market is brutal. Podcast, business, concepts, investments, drinks, alcohol, books you write. When I first wrote Your Next 5 Moves, and we launched it August of 2020, this was during the peak of COVID, my publisher, Simon & Schuster, asked and said, so how do you think the book's going to do? How are you going to judge the book? Me and Greg Dinkin are talking. I said, if the book is doing well 3 years from now, it was a good book. You can have a great marketing campaign. The book does well the first 30, 60, 90 days. But is the book selling 3 years later? If it is, that's a great book, because the market will tell you that.
We'll get back to talking to Patrick in 1 minute, but first I need to tell you about Element. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium with no junk, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other BS. It is a healthy alternative to sugary electrolyte drinks, and it's how I've started my morning every single day for over 3 years now. You don't need coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but your adrenal system is, and salt act on your adrenal system. Best of all, they have a no BS, no questions asked refund policy where you can buy it and try it completely risk-free. And if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip with Patrick, then press here for the full-length, over 2-hour-long podcast. Go on. Give it a press.